Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today I'll be taking you the Budapest Gambit. In this video, I'm also going to give you sample games which I played online and also games which have been played by grandmasters. Hope you subscribe, like and comment. So the Budapest Gambit arises after d4, knight f6, c4, e5, which is a very strong move, gambiting a full pawn. After d takes e5, then you play knight g4, attacking the pawn which is on e5. So white has a variety of moves to play here, but we are going to look at each by turn. So let's begin with knight f3. After bishop c5, attacking the f2 square, because you see the knight and the bishop are focusing on the f2 square. After e3, then we play c6, still hitting on this pawn which is on e5. After a3, trying to expand and get more space on the queen side, we play a5 to stop all those plans. After knight c3, then knight takes e5. Bishop e2, then we go for short castling. After b3, trying to develop the bishop, we go ahead and play knight takes f3, and after bishop takes f3, knight e5, attack knight e5, hitting on the bishop on f3 and bishop e2. Now here I would like to show you one of the sample games by IM Segwani against Dudos Sokarios. It's a rapid game, and in this position IM began with rook a6, very strong move. So he's planning to bring the rook and then swing it to the h file so that it can create havoc for the white side. After bishop b2, IM played rook h6. Then after short castling, IM came up with a very brilliant move. Can you guess the move? IM Arthur played queen h5. In this position, the opponent felt that it was now too much of them, and they tried to run away from the checkmate, and they played h3. So IM simply played d6. After knight d5, trying to attack the pawn and also try to bring back the knight, IM played bishop takes h3. After g3, because the bishop is untouchable, because if you take the bishop, then to be checkmate in a few moves. For example, pawn takes h3, then you play queen takes h3. So we are threatening checkmate. 1, 2, all those are potential squares to checkmate. So if you try to play f4, then queen h2 is a checkmate. Let's go back. So in the game, the opponent played g3. After g3, IM played queen g5. So you cannot fork the queen and the knight, because the queen can just take the pawn which is on g3. So white tried and played b4, attacking the bishop, which can be a tough piece in the future. Bishop a7, then rook e1, moving the rook from the bishop. So here IM played c6, hitting on the knight, and after knight f4, trying to secure the white squares by this knight, IM played another strong move. Bishop takes e3, so that if you take the bishop, then the queen can take the pawn, and the rest will be history. So the opponent saw that now the IM was on fire in this moment. So the opponent tried and played knight takes h3, then queen takes g3. Now you can see for yourself, the IM has played 5 brilliant moves in one single game. Can you believe it? 5 brilliant moves in one single game. Now, just give more respect to the Budapest Gambit. Every move is a strong move. And after king f1, queen takes h3, and after king g1, IM played queen h1, and was a checkmate. So you can see the strength of the Budapest Gambit. Let's go back. So in this position, we have looked at knight f3. So we are going to look at bishop f4. After bishop f4, the normal move which players are always playing in this position is knight c6. After knight f3, bishop c5, strong move, attacking the f2 square, attacking the f2 pawn. After e3, then we go ahead and play another strong move in the position, f6. After e takes f6, then we play queen takes f6. So in this position, in one of my games, my opponent played bishop e2, and then I played knight takes e2, forking the queen at the same time the rook. So white took the knight, then I played queen takes f4. Remember, this pawn can't take the queen because it's pinned by the bishop. After king goes back to f1, then I played queen takes e3. And remember, we are threatening checkmate in 1. So white played queen e1, defending from the checkmate. And we went ahead to open for another piece. We developed another piece by playing pawn d6. And in this position, because white wanted to create a square where the king can run from, white played g3, which was a blunder, and checkmated 1. I just went ahead to play bishop h3, and it was a checkmate. Still, we are going to recommend another move. After bishop is played to f4, so here we can try to play another move, which is knight c6. And after knight f3, then bishop b4 check. After knight b d2, then we play queen e7, the normal line. After a3, here we go ahead and play knight takes e5. In case of pawn takes e5, then we play knight d3, is a checkmate. Bishop is untouchable, so after knight takes, and then e3, then we go ahead and play bishop takes d2, queen takes d2, d6, bishop e2, a5. The continuation can be like after c5, pawn takes c5, then rook c1. Remember, we can't protect the pawn which is on c5 because you play a move like b6, then queen will come in, attacking the rook at the same time, attacking the knight, losing a piece. So you can't go ahead and play b6. So short castling after queen d5. Now queen d5 is attacking the knight which is on e5 at the same time attacking the pawn which is on c5. So knight g6 attacking the bishop which is on f4, and bishop g3. And I believe you can go ahead and play this variation. So bishop f4, we can begin another variation with a strong move. We can try to play g5, very strong move. So white has 3 squares where they can put the bishop. But let's begin. In one of my online games, my opponent played h3. Now you see the pawn is attacking the knight which is on g4. At the same time, my pawn is attacking the bishop which is on f4. So I went ahead and played knight takes f2. After king takes f2, then I played g takes f4. After knight f3, then I played bishop c5 check, king e1, then I played d6. I'm trying to open up for my bishop to come in the game, and also I'm trying to get space. After e takes d6, then I played bishop e6, creating a simple tactic of which white fell for by playing d takes c7. Then I played bishop f2, and I went on to win the game easily. That after king takes bishop, I can go ahead and take the queen, which is on d1. In this position, in case white plays bishop g3, then we go ahead and play knight c6, attacking the pawn which is on e5. After knight f3, played bishop g7, still attacking the pawn. So you see the bishop is attacking, the knight is attacking, and this knight is attacking the pawn which is on e5. So in case queen comes to d5, we can just play queen e7 and still attack the pawn which is on e5. So knight c3, ignoring that, knight takes, knight takes, knight takes. Then we take, if the bishop takes knight, then also bishop takes knight, and white will be fighting for nothing. Let's go back. In this position, in case of bishop d2, trying to plan to put the bishop on c3 and attack our rook here on h8, we play knight takes e5. After bishop c3, then we play d6, strengthening our piece. After e3, planning to come and play f4 in the future, then we play a sneaky move which is queen e7. After f4, then we take the pawn, pawn takes, and then we play knight d3, checking the king at the same time the queen is checking, king d2, then knight f2, forking the queen and the rook. After queen e1, knight e4 check. After king c2, then we take off the bishop, knight c3, and then we can go and exchange our pieces, the queens, and then we can plan to put our bishops, and then we go ahead and play knight, we play bishop, and the game is can be easily playable from this position. White declines the gambit. So this gambit begins after d4, knight f6, c4, e5. Now, what if white declines the gambit by playing d5? So here we go ahead and play bishop c5. After knight c3, then we play d6, strengthening our bishop in the center. After e3, then we play f5. Bishop d3, then we play short castling.